What's up, everyone? Welcome back to StrangeCast, Player One vs. World's Life is Strange podcast. I am one of your hosts, Adnan. My co-host Adam is here. Adam, you here?
I'm here. I woke up an hour and a half ago. I'm here for it. I'm here for the chaos.
Yes, he's here for the chaos. Yes, chaos is very fitting. It seems like that with every podcast episode, but yes, chaos will be here. But no, thank you for joining us, obviously. It's very important that you're here because otherwise there would be no podcast. And to everyone here as well, thank you for joining us always. Just to start off with as well, as usual, if you are new here, do consider dropping us a subscribe, turn on notifications, and like the video. It helps support the channel, it helps keep up to date with our channel and keep up to date with our content. And StrangeCast is available on all podcast services as well. So you can check us out on Spotify with the video version, and we're on Apple Podcasts with the audio version, and every other platform, etc. So do follow us on those as well. And we have over 130 followers on Spotify alone. So thank you very much for following there. Almost over 5,000 plays across all episodes on audio podcast services only, which is great to see. So thank you so much for the continued support. So before we start this as well, just as a PSA as well, because I know some people only listen to the podcast via podcast services, but I did drop an interview on the channel. This will be coming out on the Wednesday, this podcast, and we're recording the Saturday at the minute, but on the Friday, the week before, when you get this episode now, I dropped an interview with a UK developer called Alex Jones. And I would recommend you check that interview out if you like Life is Strange. Heavily inspired by Life is Strange, her new game, which is launched on Kickstarter.
By the way, not that Alex Jones, different Alex Jones.
Yes, different Alex Jones. Yes. But yeah, she's made a game called Quiet Things, or is making a game called Quiet Things. It's heavily inspired by Life is Strange, Gone Home, a couple other titles we talked about at length. Alex was part of the BAFTA Breakthrough Program. She's worked with Jean-Luc Cano, who's a very important part of the Life is Strange development and the entire series. So, you know, she's had really great experiences working with him. So do check that out. It's on YouTube only. So, like, as I said, all our content is YouTube mainly, and the podcast, StrangeCast, is specifically podcast services and YouTube. But I wanted to give a heads up in case you haven't seen it, because it would be great if you can go and support it and just give it a little bit of a like as well. Helps with promoting this kind of content and helps me reach out to more and more guests as well. So do that as well, and it'll just keep the channel going as we spend the next couple of months refurbing things. I'm refurbishing this channel, and hopefully more content will come, so stay tuned with that. But yeah, PSA out the way. Adam, should we start?
We should start, yes.
Indeed. So we're going to kick off with our first piece of news, which is that Harmony, the Fall of Reverie, now available on PlayStation and Xbox. So we are going to gamingtarget.com, and they just put, Don't Nod, French independent video games developer and publisher, has revealed that Harmony, the Fall of Reverie, is available today on Xbox Series X. Is it Reverie?
Reverie, yeah.
You could have told me this at the beginning. All right, okay, Reverie. Yeah. Did they say that in the game?
Yes. After you play the game, you can't help but like remember what the title is. Like, I'll put it that way.
Yeah, we'll come on to this as well with one of the other games, because we got the pronunciation a bit different, as I found out.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so it has revealed that Harmony is available today on Xbox Series X and S and PlayStation 5. If you immediately buy the game, you can get a 10% discount until June 29th. I think maybe the episode might be out before then, for Xbox Series X and S and PlayStation 5, so long as you're a PlayStation Plus member. I'm not going to go into the rest because it's just etc. other details we already know about Harmony.
Yeah.
Adam played Harmony already on Nintendo Switch, and now he's played it all the way through. So Adam, how do we feel since our last conversation about Harmony? Where are you at with it?
I still can't call myself a fan of visual novels. And little updates where I put out last episode, like, yeah, you know, I don't really gravitate towards visual novels. And Luke, of course, called me out and said, why haven't you played One Night Stand? Why haven't you played it through? And then the developer of One Night Stand reached out and just like, oh yeah, thanks for shouting me out. Like, I will try. So I've played through Harmony, and I've played through One Night Stand. I've gotten all the endings on One Night Stand. I still don't think Harmony will change people's minds about visual novels. However, and I said this on another podcast that will come out at a later date.
Oh yes, I forgot about that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just like hosting on the podcast. We'll go on, continue.
It's like a guest hosting thing. Yeah, I said that on that, but at the same time, it doesn't mean that I didn't appreciate this game. I think there's a lot to Harmony: The Fall of Reverie that's I think is unique in the world of visual novels where you can like have multiple playthroughs in the way of like there's different choices that unlock in a certain act. So let's say you made a choice in act 1 that will affect choices that you can make in act 3, right?
Hmm.
So there's so many things where you're just like, "Oh man, I didn't do that, so now I can't go here." Oh my, like why did I choose that in the first place? Or there's some people that will just be affected, like your relationships will be affected, and that will go onto different nodes that you can play on. Um, I think at the final act, right, in Act 5, there are 5 acts. It took me about 10 hours, 10, 11 hours to beat, right?
Hmm.
Which, it's a fair bit, but, it is what it is. I think in the final act, there were a lot of nodes that I kind of just like fast forwarded through because I'm like, okay, I get it. Yep. Okay. Got it. The final choice that you make, you're just kind of like, I don't know. I don't want to spoil anything, but it's not really. I didn't really find it satisfying too much, but I'm sure there's other people out there who love visual novels and would love everything about this. They'll appreciate that ending, or maybe I just made the wrong choices and I just got like kind of a meh ending. Um, but I would say my final review of this game is that if I'm gonna give it a number out of 5, I would honestly give this a 4. I in terms of like what the game is, it's a visual novel, which I don't vibe with those kinds of games.
Hmm.
Like I'm putting that bias as, like behind me. But in terms of the game, the story, the way it plays, the pacing of it, I'm gonna give the music, of course. The music is
Yeah.
great. It's a banger. Uh, Also, if you go on Spotify, do not go on Spotify and look at the song titles. There are spoilers in the song titles. That
Oh.
Yeah, I spoiled myself because I went on Let It
Mm.
Rain. I wanted to hear more of the music, and then I saw the tracks, and I'm like, wait a second. And then there are some things that were like spoiler, and I got like a major spoiler with
Oh.
just the soundtracks. I'm like, oh crap. So it is what it is. Um, but yeah, no, I would give this a 4 out of 5, honestly, for what the game is. I enjoyed my time with it, whether or not I'm a big fan of visual novels or not. I think it was a good game. And I think One Night Stand is a great game. I'm just saying that out there now, Luke. You win. I think One Night Stand was a great game. I did not give it enough time, and I think One Night Stand is a good game, as well as Harmony:
Yeah.
The Fall of Reverie.
Yeah, Lucy's really nice, and I've always said that I'm a big fan of Lucy's
Hmm.
Simpsons memes that she posts on Twitter. Lucy is
Yeah.
the developer of One Night Stand. For anyone wondering, I've followed her for a while. I think I covered one of her games a while back, so I think that's where I know Lucy from.
Hmm.
I'm quite grateful as well because when I see some great memes from there, I love them.
Oh yeah.
But to start with as well with Harmony, is this still not a game for Adnan?
No,
Based,
it's. I don't think it will be. I don't think you'll vibe with this. Like, it's still. It is a through and through. It is a visual novel.
yeah.
Um, it is by definition. It's not like visual novels, like elements of visual novels. Because I would say Life is Strange has elements of a visual novel. I would say that for sure, but
Hmm.
it's not a visual novel at all. But I think it has elements.
Hmm.
Harmony is a visual novel, like through and through. Um, I don't think you'll vibe with it, but if you pick it up on sale, try it out because it's still Don't Nod. It's still in the Don't Nod history.
Yeah.
But um, I think if you don't like visual novels, this game will not change your mind. I don't think it
Mm.
will.
Well, my plan is the next couple of years to start really cleaning through the Don't Nod backlog because I do want to start playing games, and I will pick it irrespectively because I do want to see it. Um, I'm just I'm like weirdly enough for me to say this, I'm not really vibing with the new Final Fantasy game, but we'll talk about it in Spread the
Mm,
Arts because it's a very very different game from what I expected as well. So it's like a
yeah.
like at this point I'm like kind of like questioning everything about myself. But with Harmony, how do
Mhm.
you find it in terms of replay value? Are you going to go back to it and play it for
Oh,
different choices? And have you started doing that?
no, I haven't started to, just because I'm playing other games. Like, I'm finally playing Inscription. Like, I'm finally playing that.
Nice.
Oh, beautiful. But I'm playing through that, and then I have another game in my backlog, and plus then I have Oxenfree 2 coming out in a couple weeks, and then Expanse is coming out in July.
Hmm.
So I'll get back to Harmony at some point, because there's a lot of replay value. Like, there's so many times where it's just like you should go back and do different quests or do different choices even. I think this is like heavy with replayability. So I would say yes, very much so. More than Coffee Talk. Coffee Talk, I don't know. I just didn't feel any need to go back and replay it.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, this has a lot of replay value for sure.
Interesting, interesting. Yeah, it's this is the first Don't Nod game since Twin Mirror, if I'm
Hmm.
correct. Twin
Yeah,
Mirror, yeah.
since Twin Mirror, yeah.
So like we've had like a, it's quite interesting that this is the way that we kick off the wave of like new wave of Don't Nod games that are going to come out, and it does sound like positive from what people have played.
Hmm.
And I think the visual novel style is a very interesting way for them to go with it. Like, because the crux of their stories are always being told through like narrative driven purposes
Yeah.
anyway. So like, I think like whether it's a click point and click like Life is Strange, or it's kind of like a bit more ambitious like Vampire, or like kind of Banishes, or if it's just straight up like a visual novel with like Harmony, I think it still fits into who they are as a developer. But no, interesting nonetheless that you've shared that. Have you got anything else to add before we move on from Harmony?
Um, I would say that, like, just give this game a chance, even if you're
Hmm.
like wary about it. I still think there's a lot of good in this game. I still think there's a lot to speak on in this game in terms of just, I would even say how naturally it handles, and Donut is very good with the LGBTQ plus community, where it doesn't, they never handle it in a way of just like throwing it in your face like, oh, we're allies. It's just very fluid, natural. It's like the natural order of things.
Hmm.
And I appreciate Harmony for doing that, where it represents the community in such a natural way that, and I say this on the other podcast, that feels almost like it was written by the same writers of Schitt's Creek, where Schitt's Creek was like the first show, one of the first shows to treat that kind of love in a natural form
Hmm.
um without being what, pedantic, what's the word, where you're just like playing into somebody. It's like, oh no, we want to please you, patronizing without being
All right.
patronizing.
Yeah.
um and I think Harmony does it well, just like what Donut does all the time. They just represent the community, and that's all their goal is. Whereas there's other times where it just feels like, you know, companies will just slap a rainbow on, just be like, "Hey, we're friends. So yeah, we're friends. We
Mm.
put in the rainbow." It's like, you're not a friend. You're just some guy who wants money. But Donut once again represents the community in such a natural way that I applaud them for that every time. And Harmony is no exception. It does it really well.
Well, it's the developer, isn't it? Like I think like when,
Mhm.
let's just take Montreal for example, and we had that conversation about the um interview that Frederica did with Games Industry Biz, and she was saying that like when Michelle and Luke gave her the hiring manager position, and she's like building the studio, there's this like balance that they're getting, so you collectively
Yeah.
having almost like this 50-50 female male balance. It might be a little bit imbalanced, but it's like you're not specifically going towards that goal, you're basically just drafting it in people in terms of
Yeah.
their skills and who they are, but then you're also like kind of bringing in people from all kinds of different backgrounds, walks of life, their sexuality, etc. So I think like for them, I like, and Don't Know's never really ever struck me as a kind of we're preaching it for the sake of preaching it. It's like we've always
Yeah.
been kind of like, that's the games we make, that's the kind of people who are in the company, etc. So they're the kind of stories what you're getting at. Because I know what you mean. It's like where I've seen it with June, like all those companies that put like pride logos and stuff out there. It's like almost kind of become a universal kind of thing for people to do. And it's like whether the company believes it or not has actually done anything about it. And I think like
Yeah.
I'm not really necessarily someone who necessarily, I prefer kind of seeing substance in what you're saying, if anything. So I think like what you're saying with Harmony, it seems like it's just naturally what they do anyway. So it doesn't
Yeah.
feel out of place with what Don't Nod does. But no, nonetheless, it's quite cool that they've done something like this as a project. It's something I will pick up in the future. I think like you probably had the best experience playing it on Switch. It just seems like it's just
Yeah,
like
I think it's very much a Switch game. However,
yeah,
I don't think it's a bad thing to play it on the big screen either. Like
no, no,
in fact, there's been times where I put my Switch in docked mode and I'll just play it on TV, and I think it's still good.
yeah,
Whereas One Night Stand, I think it's definitely a Switch game. Like I
right.
definitely enjoyed, because there's just times where I'm like in it, and my wife is right next to me. I'm like, this girl, I swear, and she's like, "What's wrong?" I'm like, "Nothing. I need to, I need to do something." But no, I think it's definitely made for both. But I think the best experience is on your Switch for sure.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. No, but it's, nonetheless, as I said, it's very interesting that Don't Know has done a game like this, and it's um, your thoughts are very interesting. I will play it at some
Mhm.
point myself, so we'll circle back on how I feel about it when I
When you
eventually
finally
tackle it.
play it, yeah.
Yeah, and I think it'll
It's
be
not
an
as weird as
experience.
the council. I will say that it's not as weird as the council.
I love that you played the council. It always makes me
Yeah,
quite happy at that.
I want
It's
to
quite the
replay it
experience.
sometime, but
I
I
told
just
you.
haven't had time.
I
Yeah.
told you, if anyone's listening as well and you're new here as well, like I always recommend the game called The Council. It's an episodic game. It's an episodic game with RPG mechanics built into it. So it's very much more like it was kind of like after Life is Strange, after the like wave of Telltale games, it's kind of like a little bit different. And you like when you play it, it's actually really quite enticing game, made by a French developer called Big Bad Wolf. So I always do recommend it. It's very cheap to pick up as well if you do want to go and
Oh
play it
yeah,
and
it's
just to have the
always on sale for like
yeah,
$5 for the whole
very
thing.
very cheap, and it's like it's a really interesting game to play. Nonetheless, I would just recommend it. And if you like history like I do, you'll get into it. It goes off the rails a little bit,
Little
in the later
bit.
episodes, little goes off the episode rails a little bit towards the end, but it's like it's still nonetheless. I think you'll find it one of the most fascinating episodic games you'll play.
Yeah.
But on the terms of like of Harmony, it will be something I will play, and I'll come back and revisit my
Mhm.
conversation with you, because it's like, as I said, I'm not really a visual novel kind of person. It's never been a genre that's applied to me, so it's like it's this is the thing with like the Don't Know games. Like I only play the ones that I need to play, and like I've had more of affiliation with Life is Strange than specifically Don't Know. But I've always kind of like kept an eye on something. So it's like if they do something that I like, then I will play it. Tell me why, etc. So
Mhm.
no, nonetheless, thank you for that sharing that
Yeah.
perspective, and it's quite cool to have Harmony out, because this will be this, as I said, the next wave of Don't Know games that we get, and we'll go forward from there. Speaking of Don't Know, this will be the second piece of news that we cover. I'm going to Luc Baghadoust, the studio executive producer at Don't Nod
Yes.
Montreal, who shared a little tweet on what day are we on now? Saturday, on the Friday, and he put, "Tonight was Don't Nod Montreal's 3-year anniversary party. This team is the best," with a photo of people from Don't Nod Montreal. Um, yeah, Adam, 3 years, Don't Know
Mm.
Montreal. It's quite surreal, like, because I think like the timeline's quite a bit like when you think about how long it's been, it's crazy because like Life is Strange 2 came out 2018 going to 2019. Um,
Say, Adnan, who is the gentleman that has their face kind of colored out?
we'll talk about this in a minute. I
Yes.
think I think I know who's who in this photo. I think
Oh, you think?
I
Wait.
think
Can we
maybe
get your
we'll
investigation
get to that in
skills?
a minute. Let's just go through this first. So it's like timeline wise, like Life is Strange 2 came out 2018-19, then Luke Michelle moved to Canada afterwards.
Mhm.
And it feels like, it's come a long way since you bring on a hiring manager like Frederica, then you start building a studio. We've had like kind of photos we've seen of like VO sessions and like mocap, etc. We've obviously got the big image of the videotape, which everyone's excited for, and it's kind of giving it as a hint of it. Still seems like a long way out in terms of like they're still recruiting, they're still building. So it's like um, we'll see more from Don't Know Montreal. I can see you're very excited. So should we go for the photo?
I woke up not too long ago, so yes, go for it.
So based on this as well, like let's just start with this. I think that they've almost got this prerequisite for tattoos, because you can see the three people on the left all tattoos and the right no tattoos. I hope that was purpose. The photo was shot that way. So I like the synergy of tattoos and no tattoos. Yes. Um. So I'm going to take a big punt on this. The lady on the left,
Okay.
right? who, by the way, if I get your name wrong, I do apologize. But more so the fact that your tattoos are very cool. Let me just put that out there as well. On that, I believe that's Kathy V.
Okay.
And
Okay.
Yeah, and Kathy V is producer at Don't Nod Montreal. I believe that's Kathy V. I might also have cheated on that as well because she has quote tweeted it. If you go and look at it, and I assume she's in the photo from that, and I
Okay.
think from what I can base it off is she is far left.
Uh.
See,
I don't think you're wrong. No. Yeah,
see.
I could see it. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think that's Kathy V.
Okay.
Based on what I can determine, I think that's her.
Now, who
Obviously,
is next to her?
right. Can we please speak about these pants? Like, if like, there's a certain thing I believe in life. Like, if I gave you those pair of pants, you would never ever be able to pull them off. Like, let's be honest, be real
No.
with me. No, if I pulled those pants off, never, never
Yeah.
ever would I be able to pull that. This man, the person next to her, who's wearing
Yeah.
these 70s disco pants,
Is
like
is
truly,
that Michelle Coe?
I think it is.
Yeah. Yeah, I can never tell between the two.
No, but on a serious note with Luke, that outfit is outstanding. Like, I have to
Yeah.
give full props for that. Like, cigar, the shirt, the pants, like I think you have to really own what you're wearing. And it's like that is
Yeah.
just like extraordinary for an outfit. So I think that is Luke, I think. So
You
we'll
think
go with
that?
that.
I think so. I think that might be Luke.
Yeah. Right. The person next to Luke, I could be very wrong with this.
Okay.
I don't know. This is a wild punt, if anything, right?
Yeah.
I don't think it's Kelly, like we got wrong in the last one, which that was this is I feel like this is my favorite game, like getting people wrong. I think
It's a
I
good
think
segment.
yeah, so we should just do this as a podcast segment like every other. So
Sherlock Adnan.
well, it's just have you ever tried to look have you ever looked at a photo of you from yourself from 10 years ago? Like, it's hard to determine who's who. Like, it's really hard to base off
Yeah, but this
pictures.
isn't
Like,
10 years ago. This is 3 years ago.
yeah, I know, but I'm not very 3 years ago. This is based on a 3-year anniversary.
Yeah. Oh
Um,
boy.
I think, and they look really a bit different in photos. I'm taking a punt with that. I think that's Juliet, who's the lead character artist at Don't Nod Montreal. Juliet has like a lot on her Twitter page, has a lot more kind of like lightish color hair and does wear glasses, but again, you can wear contacts, etc. But I think that might be Juliet. I'm also basing on the fact that she's like the photo as well. So I'm assuming that whoever's like, I've almost done this as like a weaving contest of like who's who and kind of like filtered through. I think that might be her that I was like trying to like, I think that would be my most accurate one. The person next to Juliet, and by the way, if you are listening to the audio version, you can go and check out Luke's tweet with the photo and you'll be able to see it. This one was a lot more difficult for me. I honestly don't know, but I will take a punt on this. And I'm basing this on a beard. I'm basing this purely on the beard. By the way, this man has a very lavish beard as well. By the way, who has the best beard? Give me this conversation.
The best beard is the man in the middle.
Really?
I'm saying that. Yeah, it's the most well groomed. Now people with dark beards just naturally look like it's groomed. Like, it's easier to groom than with ginger beards, like I do myself. It just gets all straggly looking.
Yeah.
But darker beards always look better for some reason.
Yeah. Fair enough. I would say all of them have great beards because I'm not going to get thrown under the bus like you've just done there and disrespect the other two. Yeah.
Hey man, I'm a fellow ginger beard man, so I'm here for it.
I've done this based off the beard alone and gone to LinkedIn as well, and by accident just clicked on Frederica's profile, so she's just seen that I've looked at her profile. And I'm going to take that as a bit of a gunshot wound there. But anyway, I think this is their senior brand manager at Don't Nod Montreal.
Okay.
So this is Marin Yvonne Mays. I'm not clicking on his profile right now on LinkedIn because then I don't want to be look like I'm stooping on something. But he has a very good beard in this photo, and he has a very similar hairstyle. Imagine if I could put some glasses on his profile picture right now, it would be very similar. So I think that might be him. I'm probably wrong. I've probably got one right here so far, which is, as I've always said as well, in this picture, I can absolutely guarantee you get 2 people right out of 6. And it's going to be that I take as a win.
Nice. I can agree with that.
I think he looks like him. I just based on the beard alone, it's very like similar, and the hair as well. I think it might be him. And I don't think I've ever seen this person in a photo with them before. Or like Luke's mentioned other people that we've like spoken about and seen photos of. So I can't remember if we've seen this person. Doesn't look like it. So I'm gonna take that one. And as I said before, I don't think Kelly's in one of these because she has a lot more curlier hair, so that's why I've like eliminated her through process of like with the other girls in there. And by the way, the girl next to Luke, you equally have great tattoos as well. I think like the tattoo bonanza here is great. The person next to this other person, the person next to our last person, who's obviously Michelle, but like the person next to her who has his face blurred out. I don't know. I'm not even going to try that. Like, I don't have much to work off there. It might be Jean-Luc. I always get Jean-Luc wrong about people. No, it's not. It's not.
Yeah.
It's not Jean-Luc. Jean-Luc doesn't have that hair. I imagine that Luke's probably done it because it's just about, are you happy with me putting your picture on social media, etc. Either that, or he accidentally misslipped his hand on the iPhone and squiggled out the picture before he put it on there. That could be a wild presumption, but don't know. I have no idea who that person is, and I'm also very intrigued by it because, as you said, who's the person who's been like squiggled out? I'm like, who is that? Very intrigued. Yes. But yeah, I'm not going to take a punt at that. I'm not going to go that far with it. And then obviously the man at the end, we know who that is.
Yeah, we know that's yeah. Luc Baghadoust right there.
Yeah, that's We had.
Did I say Baghadoust?
Oh my God. Okay. I'm gonna leave you out for that. Oh, he calls you off. But no, obviously, last person on the end of the photo is obviously Michelle. Big fan of the fact that he likes Converse. I love Converse. I'm like a Converse walker, so respect that, Michelle. But yeah, that's the photo that we have. Again, I could be completely wrong. Stay tuned to Player One vs. World Twitter page. I imagine we'll probably get an update with verification of who these people are. It's funny that I put myself on the line here and you never do this. Nope. I have to like take the assumption of who's who in these segment. It's Sherlock great. It's like a recurring segment, isn't it?
Yeah.
I feel like they should I feel like they should collectively take a photo, all of them at Montreal, and then send it to us. And then we make an entire video of me trying to guess who's who and see who actually gets it right. I think
like how much percentages. Yeah.
Yeah. I think
Luke will send me all the answers. I'll have an answer key and I'll grade you at the end.
That would be the best video I could actually imagine as well to make on the channel. I think that would be a great video to make. But no, nonetheless, yeah, it's quite like, you know, for them, the studios, I think there's so much excitement about this game, like indefinitely. Like, you know, I'm stupidly excited. This is the one Don't Nod game. I'm like, my entire eyes and like memories and everything else are focused on there. Like, you know, I'm like tunneled. I look at that photo every other day of the videotape and everything else in between. But no, it's quite cool because like I think, personally speaking, I don't think we're going to hear much from this game until next year. I could be very much wrong. I think we'll get maybe like trinkets of like little information here and there. I don't know if we'll get a big reveal like we did with the room that we did. That was like the big last reveal with the games console and, you know, kind of like an idea of what the game was going to be. So yeah, it's quite exciting to see that they've like had this. But I think like we're getting to the point now where we're eventually going to see what Montreal's working on, what they're producing, and this is like for me the big hitter from Don't Nod as well. Like it's the one that I think like Harmony's like a kind of its own kind of game, it's its own experiment, etc. And I think like the games that you look at in their pipeline, the two that I can just pick off obviously are Banishes and this game. That I think that there's a lot of emphasis on marketing, promotion, etc. and expectations as well. Like I would not want to be in Luke and Michelle's position because I imagine like considering where like Life is Strange has gone and how people feel about things as well in general, and then also the kind of, as I said, the expectations that they are two of the creative minds behind Life is Strange. People are very excited for this, so the expectations are huge. No pressure, guys, just saying. But like, you know, I'm obviously very excited as well because, like, as I said, we haven't seen anything from Don't Nod Montreal or like Don't Nod this team for 4 years now. Which is quite wild, or 5 years if you want to count it from the beginning of Life is Strange 2 release. But yeah, it's exciting though. Nonetheless, it's quite nice to see them. You know, we have a lot from Montreal now.
Yeah, no, it's wild, dude. But yeah, happy birthday 3 years though. We're looking forward to seeing the game. And thank you for basing the new game off of Philly. That's
It's not.
very. If I'm right about that, dude, oh man, I'm gonna be so happy. Oh, if I'm right that it's based in Philly.
I still always say this. My favorite thing I ever did was when I woke up really early in the morning, like 5 o'clock in the morning, and I was walking to um, a tram to get to work, and I was kind of like walking really early doors, and I just saw my Twitter feed notifications, and it was Luke had watched our theories episode and stuff, and he had replied saying what he
Yeah,
said, and I think there's that one point in the tweet where he said it'll be interesting for you guys to go back and hear what you said and what you got right and what you etc. And I'm like, I've been like hung on that for like the better part of like
I know.
weeks, months since he said that. Cause I'm like, something said there. I have a funny
Yeah,
feeling someone has got something right. Probably you, because my track record is atrocious. Um,
right.
but I think like there's the excitement's there for me more than anything else, and I think it'll be special to see it. And one day we'll have Luke on a podcast, which will be the culmination of everything we've had, and also Michelle and to every other person at Montreal. We'll have them on a podcast at some point, hopefully. Fingers crossed.
Yeah,
But
if they
anyway,
like us.
yeah, and depending on how many people I keep forgetting and misguessing, it's like it seems to
Yeah.
be like the one for me. But yeah, that's who I think's in the photo. As I said, the photo is on Luke's Twitter page if you want to look at it. And also, as I said, congratulations to Montreal for 3 years, to many more years, and then hopefully as well seeing what their debut game is going to be. So that eliminates that topic section, and then we're going to move on to our last piece of news. So this is on Jusant.
Jusant.
Jusant. So this was a nice little bit of information from our last episode with Luke tagging people from Montreal,
Yeah.
from Don't Nod, and people who worked on Jusant, and it also told me to look at the pronunciation as well. And yes, it's not Jusant, as I said in my really
Yeah.
like tame English accent or else. Yes, this is Jusant that we have coming
See,
out, which is
there's a person that works with Don't Nod. Her last name is Lopez. How do you say her first name?
no, we're not going there. No, stop. That was a whole different. That was a whole different worm. It's
Yeah.
Marsha, but like we're gonna leave it at that.
Yeah.
It's not Marsha, but like Marsha, like yeah. But yes, this is Jusant. I'm getting
Yes.
pronunciations. Do you know the worst part as well about this was I used to hate when people used to get my name wrong, and I was like,
Yeah.
it's not that difficult. And then it's like I walk into this field of work and I'm like, it's like, and
Oh, yeah.
I'm getting someone else's name wrong every other week in pronunciation. I'm like,
Oh, they get
damn,
my last name wrong all the time, and I just like live with it. I'm like, yep.
evil, really.
Yeah, because they said Evolts or Evol or some like it's like they make it so complicated and it's just Evolt. Like it's just Evolt.
Really?
Yeah, they get it wrong all the time.
That's
And
quite
people
interesting. That.
and I'm just like, okay, I guess sure. I know who you're talking about. Let's go. But
Yeah, I've had that myself. Like the one that I had a lot with mine with Adnan was people thought it was Adrian because they thought the D and the N were joined
oh,
together.
and then
So they thought it
yes.
was like, and Adrian was more of a common name. Like Adnan's not
Yes.
very a common name per se.
Mm.
Um, and then I think like the other one is like when I've met people, they don't really say my name for a while until they feel
Mm.
comfortable. I had it with a girl once that I was seeing, and she was American. And she's like, and I was like, "What's my name?" And she's like, "I don't want to say it." She's like, "So I get it right." She's like, "I don't want to say it." And then just like because the
It's like a
emphasis, the
Breaking
American,
Bad scene all over again. Like, what's my name? Say my
yeah,
name.
say my name. No, it's the pronunciation because it's like the accent or the twang will throw it
Yeah.
in different ways. But it's an interesting name nonetheless. I've had it with when I did an interview with a wrestler as well once, Ilya Dragunov, who's in
Oh,
WWE, and
yeah.
he once asked me. I was talking to the PR person, and the PR person said to me, "It's like, Adnan, are you are you from like Bosnia maybe?" And I was like, "No." I was like, "No, not." And he's like Ilya's from like Eastern Europe, and he's wondering if
Yeah.
you're from like from Bosnia because it's like Adnan seems like a very thingy name, and I'm like, oh, no, but yeah, it's a pronunciation is the one, but yes, Jusant is as I found out.
Jusant.
So thank you, Luke, for that. But yeah, Jusant is in the news, which is that Don't Nod dropped a thing out saying that the demo's available. So
Mm.
you can actually try the demo out. Now it's available only on Steam, which is like
Yeah.
this is the only like infuriating part for me because I only really play games demos if they come out on console. Like I have this Mac and I'm like
Mm-hmm.
thankful it's survived. I don't know if Steam will even operate on it at this point because it's like I don't want it to explode, if anything. But
Yeah,
um,
this computer I use only for music production, and I don't like to um really mess with that. So downloading Steam and playing Steam on it, I don't really do.
yes. See, that's the annoying part. 'Cause I was like thinking about doing it this week, and I was like, actually, I never got around to it. And I was like, I just don't know if I can even run it on my Mac. But it is
Mm.
available on Steam. I wanted to use this just as a news segment. Obviously, it'd be great if we could have played it, but I just didn't, want to take that risk for what I had. But it is available on Steam if you want to go and check it out. If you have played it, drop it in the
Mm.
comments. Let us know what you
Like,
think, because it'll be
yeah.
nice to see how you found the experience, and then from there, potentially,
Oh, I
hopefully,
will
downloading
say
it.
this.
Oh,
William Hella, who is coming back. William Hella's, if you don't know, big Life is Strange commentator. So on the YouTubes, and he's coming back. He did put out a tweet saying that like what he thought about the demo. So I kind of a shout out to William Hella for coming back, and also just want to read about what he thought about Jusant. I said it. I did it.
he said it. He said it.
So William Hella has two tweets about this, saying, "I really like Don't Nod's Jusant demo. Feels like they nailed the fundamentals. It's a lot of fun to climb around the environment. I hope they lean into harder puzzles. Sorry. I hope they lean hard into puzzles though, and it's not just find the next place to go up, right?
Mm.
So hopefully they go into puzzles." And then he says this: "Rope stuff is cool. Obviously borrowed from The Last of Us Part 2. I think you can make some really neat puzzles with it. Manipulating objects and bringing them closer to you in the same way you pull yourself up will be even cooler." So it sounds like it's a game that is also about climbing. The demo doesn't really have a lot of puzzles, but he hopes he leans into puzzles. So William Hella enjoyed it and hopes that we get more of it. But it seems like it's a very chill game, and I'm all about cozy games, dude. I'm all about that life.
I don't know how much puzzle based it's going to be, really. I
Mm-mm.
think it might just be about climbing, essentially. I think it
Yeah.
might be like as that kind of experience. It's almost like, if when you play like Death Stranding, a lot of it is walking, but the entire point is
Yes.
it's walking though. It's like you're carrying and walking because that's the point of it. You don't do much else, but you're doing it for X reason. I think this
Mm-hmm.
might just be a straight up like kind of like climbing and kind of like traversing obstacles and kind of doing stuff like that, rather than doing puzzles in the game. The rope thing's interesting from Last of Us Part 2,
That's what I'm
because
thinking. Yeah.
I remember a lot of like emphasis being put on that rope mechanic at Last of Us 2, and I really wasn't hugely fond of it. It was kind of like a bit of a whatever after a little bit, because I was like, okay, it's like, enough's enough. I've kind of seen enough of this rope.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but no, that is interesting. I hope that they release it on console, like the demo. Oh,
The
like,
demo.
definitely pick it
Yeah.
up. Yeah, like if it's released on console, like I'll absolutely pick up the demo and play it. I might even try it after this podcast and like break my computer playing Steam on it and like try it out, and then come back maybe next episode and like give my perspective. But just
Mm-hmm.
wanted to give a heads up if you have seen it. But it does look something like I'd love to play. Like I'd obviously love it if it was on Switch. Like a lot of these games on Don't Nod just seem to be like looking like they should be built on Switch. Like they just seem
Mm-hmm.
so great to be on that platform. But I think like on PlayStation 1, depending on the price and when it comes out as well, I think like it will be something I'll keep my eye on, because it's like, I think people have always like joked about it, saying like it's like Daniel Diaz with his little blob climbing up traversing places. So I'm kind of keen on it. I'm interested by it, and it's again very different from the other stuff. I think like this is my
Yeah.
most. I think like we're in the most interesting phase of Don't Nod here, because we're just seeing so many different little projects that are coming out, and
Yeah.
also
From Gerda to a visual novel to cozy game climbing. It's odd, but a
yeah, and
good way odd.
oh no, a good way odd, because like all the people are like from different branches of Don't Know. So obviously like Edward Kaplan has like done the artwork for this, and he's very much known for his work on Life is Strange. And then you see
Mm-hmm.
the kind of aesthetic that's shown with like Jusant and like the characters and stuff, and you can see that like almost like when people are like, oh, it's Daniel Diaz climbing like walls and stuff. It's like I can see that. I can see why people think that. And then you have like other developers who are producing stuff like the visual stuff from Harmony. Then you don't know what's going to come from Montreal either. Like we still don't even know about anything about that. They could take a completely different direction on things. Um, so I think like we're seeing this really interesting phase, and that's what's like really interesting me. Because it's like so far we've seen Jusant, we've seen Banishers, and we've seen
Yes.
Harmony, and it's
Mm-hmm.
like obviously Gerda as well, but Gerda is like externally developed and published by Don't Know specifically, but it's like we're seeing different games and different kind of stories being told. So it's like I'm getting more of a clear identity of who the studio is and what they kind of shape themselves up to be. But no, nonetheless, as I said, Jusant is out, available as a demo on Steam. Do check it out. Adam, we're done with the news. You got anything else to add?
Just pronounce French words right. Be cultured.
Yes, be cultured.
Like,
be cultured. By the way, as well, let me just give you a guess here as well. Say if Luke does snoop around these channels again and like this video, I think in that photo, I got 4 out of 6 people right.
You think 4 out of 6?
I think 4 out of 6. I'm gonna be like 3 at the most, but I'm gonna say 4 out of 6.
2 at the most.
Yeah, well, I'll take 2. 2's a win.
Yeah, exactly.
It's always a win. It's like you never go with 0, and I'm like, that's a win. I think 4 potentially. I think I might have got 4 people right in that photo. Well, we'll see though. We'll see. I wake up at like 3 o'clock in the morning saying you got 2 people right, and I'm like, right. I'll be deleting Twitter and the channel and be like, I'm gone. Anyway, we're gonna go onto our main topic, which was submitted by a fan. So thank you very much for this. This was submitted by @showbiz_stan on our YouTube video. One of the previous StrangeCast episodes. He put video idea. Oh, they put a video idea. Sorry, they put video idea. Who you guys would cast in a hypothetical Life is Strange movie / TV show? You can cast characters from all the games. So I thought this was a really interesting idea. Thank you for submitting this. We've always said as well, if you have any video ideas, just leave them in the comments. We've had people saying like we should look at other Don't Nod games in other comment videos, which we will do. So do thank you again. So if you do have anything, just let us know and we'll definitely check it out. So I think, personally speaking, because they've said basically you can pick all characters from Life is Strange. I think we should just stick with the first Life is Strange, personally speaking. I think
just
based
the main
on
characters.
Yeah, I think based on the fact that like the long rumored TV show of Life is Strange was in development, etc. And I think like the first one has like a very concise cast of characters, and I think we could probably work off that as well. Hypothetically speaking, let's say Netflix has picked it up, yeah,
and
we'll go from that, and we'll just say like you have like a very big budget for people.
Yes.
Okay. So do you want me to go first with just one character? I've always found this an interesting one.
Okay, yeah, go off of one character.
Okay, so this is purely based on Life After Strange. So do you like after like the very early episodes and stuff? I used to ask all the actors at the end saying like, if you could cast whoever you want in a role, your character, who would you pick and why, like in a TV show, movie? And one of the very early interviews I did was with Dan McCann. Dan played Dave Madsen in Life is Strange Before the Storm and Life is Strange 2. He took over for that character. And when he first answered that question, I can't remember who else he said, but the one person he named in there who really stuck with me, I said to him, like, who would you think would play a good Dave Madsen?
Oh, yeah. Okay, I've seen this.
And he said Michael B. Jordan. And I was kind of like, And I was like, that's an interesting choice. I wanted to start the conversation there with just Dave Madsen and what he said. I think is a good way to start this conversation itself. Michael B. Jordan.
I think no, because here's the thing. I think he's getting Michael B. Jordan from Michael B. Jordan is a very intense person.
Yeah.
We're talking about like Killmonger. We're talking about Creed. We're talking about even Fruitvale Station. Right. Michael B. Jordan is one of my favorite actors of all time. I think he is fantastic. However, there's an element that Michael B. Jordan doesn't have for the character of David Madsen, is that David Madsen is intense, but he's also opinionated. Like he's heavily opinionated, right? In the worst way possible. I think David Madsen as a character is biased out of his opinionated nature, whereas Michael B. Jordan plays characters that is intense for survival's sake. He is intense because he wants to survive. Killmonger wanted to survive and just like be king, right? Creed, he wanted to survive in the boxing ring. Fruitvale Station, he just wanted to survive in general, dude. So I think David Madsen is just a very opinionated person. I don't think Michael B. Jordan can pull that off. I don't think he can pull off that kind of like bias. Whereas he gets the intensity. I don't know. That's an interesting choice. Yeah.
Yeah, see, like I would say on that casting, no, just because I think Michael B. Jordan's personality is very different.
Mm-hmm.
And I think like whenever I always see Dave Madsen, he just reminds me of a young Tom Selleck. Like when Tom Selleck is in Friends and he's like Monica's boyfriend, Richard, he just looks like that. Every time I see Richard, I just see Dave Madsen. He's like a mustache and he's like, oh, he's got like the cigar. It's just like he just reminds me of that. So I think like you need someone who's a little bit like that. My always casting has always been like if I could take Tom Selleck and put him in a time machine and drag him from Magnum PI, and then make him Dave Madsen, he'd be the perfect fit for me because he's got the rough, graspy voice. He's got the build for me. He looks a bit like Dave Madsen as well. I mean, like that's those are my kind of like go tos from it. But I just always found Michael B. Jordan a very interesting selection in that. And it's
I
not
wouldn't
even
even
because
say Tom Selleck would be good in that role either. If anybody were to fit that sort of role, right, it would be either Denzel Washington or Idris Elba.
Yeah, Elba was literally who I was just thinking of then. I was like,
yeah, Idris Elba, it can pull off the intense, opinionated kind of role, whereas Tom Selleck is very sure of himself. Like Tom Selleck's characters all the time, he's sure of himself. He's confident. That's different from opinionated. Opinionated is just more of just like a bias for no reason. Whereas Tom Selleck, he's like, I'm here. I have the facts. Like I'm confident in myself. He's got a swagger to him, and I don't think David Madsen has swagger. He just has a hardened shell, and I think Idris Elba could pull that off in terms of like celebrity.
Whoa. Put some respect on Dave Madsen's name. He has swagger with that ponytail. Dave is like that's,
he has swagger later, but like we're talking about the first Life is Strange game. We can't talk about Life is Strange 2. We're talking about the first Life is Strange game. He does not have swagger. He doesn't.
Well, yeah. You know, I was on TikTok and that scene popped up where he's like, I'm on it, Max.
I'm on it, Max. Exactly. I'm on it. There's no swagger.
Every time I watch that scene, I just can't stop laughing. It like genuinely makes me so happy. Like,
not to say that Idris doesn't have swagger either, but I think he could pull off that like bias, like, what are you talking about? Like, you need to get your like life together, kind of
Luther
stuff, like
kind
intense.
of character.
Yeah, Michael B. Jordan, I don't think could. I don't know. I'm not saying he can't because he's a fantastic actor, but I don't think I could believe it.
Maybe we should cast Will Smith as Dave Madsen. It's like when someone says something about Joyce, he's like, keep my wife's name out of your mouth. He like slaps like Frank at the diner and like all the beans fall everywhere. Like that would be like a good way to do it.
We're making him Chris Rock then.
Yeah.
Frank Bowers is Chris Rock.
Oh god, it'd be like doing that Saw film like they did with Chris Rock, like just the miscasting on his lifetime. With Dave Madsen, though, another one who could kind of look like him, and just basing this off him look, is Chris Pratt. Do we have the mustache? Chris Pratt.
Chris Pratt, he can't be in every role. Chris Pratt, he can't. He shouldn't be having every role. Stop it.
Well, maybe. No. Yes. He could play every character then. Like, why not?
Chris Pratt is Max Caulfield. Chris Pratt is Chloe Price. Chris Pratt is Mario. Like, no, Chris Pratt's done. He's fine. He doesn't need any more roles. He's done.
You have the credits. Chris Pratt is played by Idris Elba.
Chris Pratt is now Michelle Coe, played by Chris Pratt. Chris Pratt plays Chris Pratt.
Yeah, but do you know what I mean, though? There's that picture of Chris Pratt with the mustache. He could, like,
He's too playful. I don't think he could also pull off the opinionated. Like, I just think that when he is intense, he's more of like a if I were to cast Chris Pratt in any role on Life is Strange, right? He would be Principal Wells.
Really?
I would say Principal Wells. Yeah, because he's a broken man and he's just trying to like have fun with things. But I'm also on the side of just like, hey, let's not cast a let's not cast that kind of person. I would say for Principal Wells, honestly, out of all my choices, Denzel.
Samuel Jackson for me. You're
No,
like,
just
come
because
on, that is a casting
because
with
Samuel L.
Central.
Jackson has power behind him. He does have that kind of like, are you serious right now? Like, are you serious? Principal Wells doesn't really have that kind of power. He just kind of has a deep voice, you know?
Yeah, but have you not seen Coach Carter though? Like, he's great for that
I've seen
performance. Like,
Coach
yeah, and
Carter,
it's like you'd be
but
great
that's
as
what I
Principal
mean. Samuel L.
Wells.
Jackson has inspiration. He
Like,
has that kind of like drive to him. Principal Wells is just like a puppet. He has a whiskey in his desk because he knows he doesn't have any power behind him, so he's just like depressed about it. No, I would cast probably. I would cast Idris Elba as David Madsen and Principal Wells.
You can't do. I think you're disrespecting
and
the power of. I think you're disrespecting the authority of Principal Wells. I think
I am
Samuel
disrespecting
Jackson,
the authority of
Samuel Jackson would be great.
He doesn't have any authority. He's just a guy. Idris Elba is you know who Idris Elba could be? Warren Graham.
No, this is the conversation has been completely lost here. Right, let's get back to Dave Madsen first. Right,
okay. Should
we make some like compromise? Who do you think would be a good fit here?
Not Michael B. Jordan. I'm gonna say Idris is David Madsen.
Yeah, I think like the interpretation wise, obviously, like, you know, Idris Elba is black and Dave Madsen is a white character, but I think like at this point I'm fair with making a compromise on that. I think it'd be a good compromise. I think Idris Elba's got that older kind of like aesthetic with him as well. Like, you know, I think he'd fit well with it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. I do have a pick for Jefferson.
Oh, go on then.
Mm-hmm. I always get his last name wrong, which is why it's right in front of me. Milo Ventimiglia. Milo Ventimiglia. I'm just gonna. Do you know who that is?
I don't know.
I'm
looking him up now.
Here you go. I just sent it to you. Yeah, Milo Ventimiglia, who played. He played Rocky's son in like the later ones, like Rocky 5 and all that. He played in This Is Us. Of course, he was Jess in Gilmore Girls. He played a lot. He was in Heroes. He was Peter Petrelli, I think. Yeah.
Right.
But he was also in Creed 2. Yeah, he was in Creed 2 as well.
He looks quite aesthetically interesting. He looks like someone who could be in the Last of Us film or something. Or like a TV show. He just looks like someone who could fit in that. I'm surprised he isn't like in the Last of Us TV show. That's why
I mean, he's a really good actor, and I think why I would cast him as Mr. Jefferson is that he's got a good. Mark Jefferson doesn't have swagger. What he has is just cool, calm, collected, bad boy sprinkle into him, but he's got crazy eyes. And I think Milo V, he has that swagger behind him. He has that bad boy, and especially in Gilmore Girls, he was the bad boy. He was the bad boy phase in Gilmore Girls.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he's got that like kind of like safety, like, oh, he's just a nice guy, you know, always got some like dip into him, but you know, it's fine. And I think in all intensity, he has that intense eye glare when it comes to the scenes where Max is captured. He's got that look to him where he can change from cool, calm, collected to insane psychopath within a blink. I also have somebody's like casting roles. Shout out to, does it have a name for who made this list? Rama Andor 1416. So thanks for this. But they also said, I don't know if I agree with this or not, but I understand where they're coming from. Oscar Isaac as Mr. Jefferson.
I can see that. I can see that.
It's kind of like I'm on the fence with that, but I'm like, I can see it.
My pick's similar to Oscar Isaac, just for Jefferson. So I can kind of see what they say Oscar Isaac.
Yeah. They also said Robert Downey Jr. I'm like, no,
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 no, no,
no. He doesn't have that
no.
intensity. Oscar
So,
Isaac could.
do you want me to name my pick for Jefferson? I've
Go for
always
it.
thought this for a long time. So, do you know who Hugh Dancy is?
Actually, that's the other pick that they have. Hugh Dancy.
Oh,
Yes.
is it?
Yeah, that they have 3 picks. They have
So,
Oscar Isaac, Robert Downey Jr., and Hugh Dancy. Yeah.
oh, right. So, I've always said this to anyone who's has like been willing to listen to me. One of my favorite TV shows of the last decade was NBC's Hannibal. And not just so for Mads
Yes.
Mikkelsen being in that, like Hugh Dancy is Will Graham in that TV show. He is
Yes.
phenomenal. He's so good. It's not talked about that enough, that TV show. It's always the
Mm.
TV show I recommend to anyone who wants to watch a new TV show. And it's a TV show they never watch because they're just ignorant enough not to watch it. And I'm like, this is one of the best TV shows that was produced in the last decade. When I watched the first season of NBC's Hannibal, this was around the
Hmm.
time that even like After Life is Strange, every time I saw Hugh Dancy with his curly hair and like the kind of like the detective what's it called, like kind of like the psychoanalyst analytic kind of ability that he does with Will Graham, all I could think of was Mark Jefferson.
Yes.
Like because it's like with Hannibal, it's like the sophistication. If you ever watched the TV show, like they like, when they track the serial killers, they always have this kind of thing where they're building something, and Will Graham's character, he can project himself into the mind of the serial killer, so you can kind of like get into their feet and kind of like see things from their perspective. And there's this really
Mm.
chilling line that they say in NBC's Hannibal every single time, which is Will Graham says, "This is my design." And
Yes.
every time that Hugh Dancy says it, I'm like, this guy would be the most incredible Jefferson. I'm like, he just
Yeah.
looks like it. His acting is phenomenal. Like for him to like project himself the way that he does in Hannibal as a character, I'm like, this guy could easily have, like, I think they kind of like try and play this idea in the TV show as well, where it's like you can kind of see that Will Graham eventually snaps and he becomes like a killer, etc. But like he has a fit for it. I think like he would
Yeah.
easily, like, during that moment where Jefferson like reveals his ulterior motive, like where it's like he reveals himself to be the sinister,
Yes.
person that he is. I think that Hugh Dancy would play on that. It's almost like, and it reminds me of the kind of like James McAvoy performance in Split, where Julian like starts playing different
Yes.
personas. I think Hugh
Yes.
Dancy could do the same with Jefferson, where he like reveals himself and he reveals himself to be the monster, and it's like,
I can see
oh
Hugh Dancy pulling it off too, for sure.
yeah, like he's
Either
built for
Hugh
it.
Dancy, Oscar Isaac, or Milo V. Like any one
Yeah,
of those picks, I would totally take.
yeah, I think all 3 of them. I think they've all got like the kind of like the facial thing from it, and then they've all got their own kind of like skill set that will bring it to it. I think Oscar Isaac, I would probably put a bit more out of it. I think for me
Yes,
personally, out of the 3 of them, I
he
would
would be
either
my
pick.
my third choice.
Yeah, I would
Like,
pick between Hugh Dancy and Milo for me personally. Obviously, I'd go for
mm.
Hugh Dancy because it's my pick now. But
Oh
it'd
yeah, of
be,
course.
but it'd be one of those 2. I think those 2 just seem like you could have something with it. I think Oscar Isaac, we're going to be stretching our budget a little bit at this point. Like,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I think like those 2 are really good picks though for me. Like, I think that I think either way with Jefferson, you could have really good one there.
Mm.
Adam, so I'm going to throw this at you, Max Caulfield.
Okay. Okay, so I want to go off of this person's picks. Rama has also they put interesting choice for a writer, Bo Burnham. I'm like, that's interesting because if you ever seen Eighth Grade, Bo Burnham wrote that movie.
Hmm.
Interesting choice. I don't know. I mean, of course, I love Bo Burnham. I don't know if he's enough, but that's not my point. My writer would be Michelle Coe for sure. Like that's my choice. That's the only choice. Anyways, so they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They have
Jesus.
6 choices for, and I'm going with number 3, honestly. So they have Millicent Simmons, who was she was the deaf girl in A Quiet Place. So
Right.
I can see that for sure. Kiernan Shipka, who played in the series Feud. She was Sally Draper in Mad Men. She was Jinora in Last Airbender. In Legend of Korra, Jinora. Oh, yes. I don't see Kiernan Shipkin. This is my choice. Sophie Thatcher. I would say Sophie Thatcher. Because she was in Showtime. Yeah, she was in Yellow Jacket. She was in the Book of Boba Fett. I think she could pull off that role given the good writing, but also this person's fourth choice, Macy Williams. I
Macy
could,
Williams is an interesting choice, I think, more so than Sophie Thatcher for me. But
yeah,
Macy Williams is a very interesting
I'm in
choice.
between those two, like Macy Williams. The other two are Una Lawrence, which okay, sure. And Eloise Lawrence, who is on London Road. She was Live Until You Die, Broken. Also an interesting choice. I'm in between Sophie Thatcher and Macy Williams, honestly. I would say Macy Williams for me,
See,
actually.
weirdly enough, looking at some of the photos of Sophie Thatcher on the Google, like I think she could be Chloe as well.
She could be. Yes, I could see that
Like
too.
I just have this thing with her vibe, like she, because so for me, Max is a really weird one as like a character. Like I think I would have to relatively go with someone unknown, because I think in the
Yes.
spirit of it, I think it's a very hard character to like kind of like there was always this kind of conversation of, like who would be this kind of thing, like people for like Chloe Grace Moretz out and etc. I think it's a really hard one, but weirdly enough, there's someone that has like come in my mind in the last couple of weeks, months, and also especially during this topic. I don't know how you think about this. Like, so let me
Mm.
pitch it to you. My pick would personally be: do you know who Ella Freya is?
I know the name. I know the name.
So
I know the
Ella
name.
Freya is the facial capture for Ashley Graham in Resident Evil 4 remake.
Oh yes, 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 yes,
And
yes, yes.
Ella Freya has recently like kind of changed her hair a little bit on Instagram. She like has almost the Max Caulfield hair, like this kind of like little
Okay.
hair. She's like, because Ella's basically from the Netherlands. She's
Mm,
Dutch. She's very like
I'm
white,
changing
like very.
it. I'm
Well,
saying Ella Freya, not Max.
no, really.
Kate Marsh. Kate
Yeah,
Marsh.
maybe,
She
maybe.
has that kind of like not innocent look, but almost just
Oh, she's
like
innocent. Like her voice is like so innocent as well. Like I've heard her speak
that's what I
English, and
mean.
I'm
She
like,
has this kind of like closed off look where it looks like she's been in a bubble. And she looks like, not to say that this person has been in a bubble. I'm just saying that like if I were to cast people, um, it looks like she's got the porcelain skin. She's got kind of like the quiet look, but she looks like she could be intense on the rooftop scene too. And I know, and I've seen her acting before, and I've seen the Resident Evil 4 thing. I think she could be intense as Kate Marsh, to be honest with you.
yeah, I never really thought Kate as well when you said that. I just
Mhm.
for me, like when I've seen some of those pictures of her, she just looks like I'm like she's like maybe that's Max actually. Like maybe that is Max, like the way she looks,
Mm.
and like the way that she like her facial features are shown, and like the way that her hair is done, and like the way that she talks with her voice. It's so innocent and pure. Like Max is a weird one because like Max is like pure and innocent in voice as well, but then also quite blunt as well, and also a bit more of a kind of like I don't really. Sometimes it's hard for me to even describe Max as well. Like it's like forever my spirit animal, but also like a weird kind of way to explain her. But she's a little bit like, as I said, you can't have like a really girly kind of person for her. I think
Yeah.
she has to be a little bit like I don't want to say tomboyish, but like she can't just be girly if anything. And that's why I think like Ella
Right.
Freya, like there's a kind of thing where I saw her face in RE4 remake that they did for Ashley, and just keep looking at him. I'm like, maybe that is just Max for me. I'm like, maybe it's just Max. That's the one that always comes to my mind now recently with Max.
Oh, sure. Yeah. No, I would cast her as Kate, but in terms of Max, I think I'm going on Macy Williams for sure.
Yeah, Macy Williams is an interesting one though. She's a
Yeah.
very interesting one. I don't know if you're like because like even with like, but I know Bella Ramsey has had very much success since with The Last of Us as well, and I wouldn't ever consider Bella for Max. I don't think Bella's fit for Max in the sense the
Mm,
character. Macy
yeah.
Williams could be, because I think Macy Elliott Williams has zest with her and a bit of attitude. I think
Hmm.
like that would come out with Max. Like, when Max does a like little thing where she like becomes a little bit abrupt with things. I think it's an interesting casting. That a very very interesting choice that you picked that.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Uh, yeah. I'm sticking with. Um. Yeah, I'm sticking with that. I'm sticking
Or
with.
maybe Denzel Washington could be Max. Maybe.
No, I'm gonna
That's
say Michael B. Jordan is Max. I'm just so lonely in this school. I can't. Oh, why can't I make any friends?
Oh god, no! I think like that would be a good cast. I think like that would be a good casting for that. I think like my kind of one would be like for Max or Chloe, you'd have someone who's relatively unknown, or kind of like
Yes.
give them a breakthrough opportunity. But I think if we're having this kind of opportunity and we've basically been bankrolled by billionaires at this point, I think Macy Williams would probably be a good choice as well. I would stick with Ella Frey myself personally, but seeing as you're relegating into Kate, I think like I think that would be an interesting choice nonetheless. So I'm trying to think of characters here and trying to move
Chloe
forward.
Price.
Chloe Price is a very difficult one. I think
I
maybe we
got
should leave
one.
Chloe Price. Go on then.
This person put her in as the unrealistic choice. I'm still putting it there.
The
Given
unrealistic
the right
choice.
makeup, given the right writing, I think she's a little too old for the role, but I still want to give it to her. Emma Mackey.
Emma Mackey.
Emma Mackey. Yes, I am.
I'm gonna.
Yeah, I would just say she was in Sex
Oh
Education.
yes. Oh, it's Maeve, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm sorry, Emma Mackey, dude. Like straight up would be a good Chloe for sure.
But would you be a bit fearful about Emma Mackey just being Maeve from Sex Education versus Chloe? Because I feel like there's some lines that you're trying to blur there.
I think so. I think yes, but at the same time, she's made to be Chloe. You know,
Oh yeah,
like
she is. Yeah,
I'm sorry.
the more that you
Emma,
show me the pic, it's not even the fact that Maeve has like the pink hair stuff in like in Sex Education. It's like the more I'm looking at a
yes,
photo, she just looks like.
she's Chloe, dude. Come on. Like, I mean, if we're not gonna give it to if we're not gonna give it to why am I losing her name? The voice actress behind Chloe Price and
Ashley
every video
Birch.
game, Ashley Perch. I need more coffee in my system. That hurt my soul that I couldn't remember her name. Um, but yeah, no, if we're not going to give it to Ashley Birch, then Ashley Birch is going to be Joyce. She's going to be Joyce Price. Yeah, I'm giving it to Emma Mackey. There are other choices for Chloe is Florence Pugh, which okay, yeah,
Yeah.
sure. Laura Morano, who was she looks familiar and I can't place her. I don't think I would. Geraldine Viswathan. I can never remember her name, but I've seen her before. I don't think so. And then finally, Kiara Glasgow, who was in the series Copper. It's a BBC show.
Right.
I would say that, but no, I'm sticking my guns with Emma Mackey.
It's scary how
Straight
much she
up.
looks like Margot Robbie as well. I never
Oh,
got over that.
I want Margot Robbie in everything, dude. Like
Like,
if Margot Robbie wants to be Max and Chloe, oops, excuse me, burp gang. But if she wants to be that, I want more Margot Robbie, dude. But you know,
yeah, she does that. I think the Maeve kind of thing, especially in their Sex Education, I think it's like
yeah,
she gives that kind of like the attitude thing that you'd get from
yes,
Chloe, and I think it's the right fit for it. I think like even a wild card and like just my kind of thought as well because of like who she is in her personality. I think you could even do Kylie Brown as Chloe Price. I think it'd be hard to.
Yeah,
I think it'd be hard to differentiate the because she obviously the Rachel Amber voice is very like attuned to her, but I think like because of Kylie's personality and like from what I remember like speaking to her and talking to her, I think she'd be very fitting for a Chloe Price. I think she's got this
yeah.
the look as well a little bit of Chloe Price. If you dyed like her hair
If
and stuff,
anything, like I would to support your argument for that. Where did Chloe Price get her real attitude from? Like none other than the personality of Rachel Amber. You
yeah.
know, Rachel Amber was the bad one, like the bad influence for Chloe.
Mm.
So if we're gonna cast anybody for the personality of Chloe, is the person that's derived the attitude from. So I would say, yeah, Kylie Brown as Chloe Price. I'm game for that for sure, dude. But yeah, between Kylie Brown and Emma Mackey, I mean, of course, I wanted Kylie Brown. Of course, you know.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting one, but yeah, we're gonna have to. I think that's maybe a settled one for Claire. I didn't think of it until you said it, and when you said it, I was like,
Yes.
actually, I was like, oh no, I was like, yeah. Oh, was it who's the other person? Was it Sophie Thatcher that you said?
Sophie Thatcher for you
Max.
said Chloe, but I said Max.
But
But
yeah,
I
but it
think
could
you're
also
right.
be. I think she
It
could
could
also,
also be
but there's
Chloe.
two contention for Chloe. Speaking of which, because you mentioned it as well, Rachel Amber.
Somebody, they only have one choice. They only have one choice.
Well, we don't have to pick someone. They just need to be in the ground because they ain't getting seen. No, but
And I am like, Ashley Benson.
I have one in mind.
Go for it. I don't think it's
But
Ashley
let
Benson.
me
No,
just
I
quickly.
see where they're going with it. I understand why they picked Ashley Benson. I
So
don't
mine's
think
a
so.
little bit similar, like her, but I think it's her facial features a bit different. So I would direct you to Willa Fitzgerald,
Oh, wait.
who you might know
Fitzgerald.
from the Scream TV show.
Yes.
But
I
if
know who
you,
that is. Yes. Okay. Okay. I could
I
see
think
that.
she has the girl next door look, kind of thing.
Yes.
I
I
think like
think
that.
so.
Like, irrespective of what you think of her acting, or whatever else, I think she has that look. When I remember watching the Scream TV show, I was like, maybe. I was
Mhm.
like, maybe she could be like your Rachel Amber. I think she
Yeah.
has that kind of look for it.
I could
What do
see
you
that.
think?
I could see Willa Fitzgerald for sure. I
I
don't
think
know if I would go with that, but I think you know who I'd cast her as, honestly? Victoria Chase.
yeah, that's the other one I think
I
as
was gonna
well.
say Victoria Chase.
She's got the
I'm gonna
queen
say
bee
that.
look about her. It's like it's a
Yes. I would say
yeah,
Victoria Chase is gonna be a Willa Fitzgerald. Rachel
yeah.
Amber's gonna be Kylie Brown.
It's hard. It's not. That's the one that's really hard for me to define. Like, because Kylie as well, like as a person, the way she looks as well. Like Kylie's only, I think like the minute she's like, she's 24, 25 as well. So it's like if you're going to
Yes.
cast her in a TV show, like it's just like, and have you ever seen her do the photos where she's like wearing the Rachel Amber
Mm-hmm.
jacket and stuff? Like she just looks like Rachel Amber for me as well. Like there's a really hard one, but yeah, I think Willa Fitzgerald could actually be the bad girl at this point. I think she could be a
I think she
Queen Bee
could.
herself, Victoria. I think it's a
Yeah.
shout there.
Either one I think I would be satisfied with.
Yeah.
So why don't we pick one last character, and it's an important character? Frank Bowers.
Frank Bowers.
This person has one pick, and it's like a maybe for me. Maybe.
Go on.
Douglas Booth. That's
Douglas
like
Booth.
yeah, he was in he was in the Noah movie. I forgot he was Noah. Or one of the sons of Noah. Jupiter Ascending. Yeah, it's kind of like I see why. I understand why, because you want that character to be tough but also have a heart, and I think Douglas Booth can pull that off. However, I think he's got too innocent of a look, because Frank Bauer still has a rugged look. I don't think I would cast Douglas Booth.
I'm not really sold on that one, if I'm being deadly serious with you.
But that's their only pick, and I'm just like, I'm just googling ideas here. What do you think? Do you have anybody?
I'm looking at the minute. I'm looking at one. It's a bit of a wild one.
Oh, let me hear it.
No, it's too young. I don't think he has the look for it. You'd have to do like a new age wave of like Frank or something to do it.
Okay. Okay. Let's see. Somebody says.
What we got here?
No. Someone said Norman Reedus.
Norman, no.
Never.
Never.
No.
We're not having that. We're not having that.
Oh my god. Yes, it's no.
No, we're not having that. We're not having that. I could direct you to one person here who I think could potentially do it. To Brian Austin Green, who I really adored from Terminator: The Sarah Connor Chronicles.
Yes,
I've just been looking at it, and I'm like, maybe the face kind of, he's got that.
He's a little too old though.
That's the only issue now at this point.
Yeah.
Maybe it was like 10 years ago when we were doing it. I think
10 years ago. I think he would be a good Frank Bowers. Oh, Brian Austin Green.
Oh, mate, we would be casting Summer Glau in this if it was 10, 15 years ago. Like, there'd be no question about this. We would end the podcast.
Who
Summer
would
Glau is
Summer Glau
casted.
be?
Everyone.
Everyone.
She's that great because I love
She's
Summer Glau.
Max, Chloe. She's Principal Wells. She's she's Brooke.
Everyone, she's great, man. She's great, Summer Glau.
Yeah,
but no, I think he could potentially be. Frank's a really hard one, actually. I just think he's really hard. Like I keep thinking of Rick from Walking Dead as well for some reason. Like when he goes into like.
Yeah. Okay, I could see Rick too.
Is it Andrew Lincoln? Is he called Andrew Lincoln?
Yes, I think. DeCray Montgomery. Who is that?
Yeah, I think Andrew Lincoln actually could be potentially me, Frank. Could be thrown there as well.
Oh, okay. I could see DeCray Montgomery again, given the right makeup and the right wardrobe. I've seen his work before, and I forgot he was in Elvis because I'm stupid. Yeah. Oh, he was also. Oh my god, I'm so stupid. I recognize who he is. DeCray Montgomery. I'm so stupid. Yeah, obvious choice. I want you to look him up and see what he's done.
What's his name?
I'm gonna send you his IMDb. I'm so stupid. I keep forgetting him because like he plays roles and you just forget that it's him because he's such a good actor and he's such a good character actor too. That you kind of forget of like all he's done. And not in a way that he's forgettable, but because he just fits the role that he's yeah.
So who's he playing for you?
Frank Bowers.
Oh, that's
because he was Billy in Stranger Things. He was the Red Power Ranger. He was Elvis. Or no, he was Steve Binder.
Swag for Frank Bowers though.
But like, think about Billy Hargrove, right? He's got that tough attitude. But I think that DeCray has this gift where he can just like, you tell him who to play, and he's going to go for it. Like he's going to be like, you ever work with somebody that you ask them to do one thing, and then they do it well, and then you ask them to do a completely different task, and they're like, "Yeah, I can do that." That's DeCray in acting for me. I think if you just say like, "Hey, DeCray, can you play somebody who's tough but has a heart?" Yeah, I can do that. No problem. Do it. I would say DeCray Montgomery is going to be my choice for Frank Bowers.
Because who else I've just recently thought about is Jeffrey Dean Morgan for Frank.
Okay.
He is Negan from The Walking Dead.
Okay.
Because I think the thing with Frank, for me personally, the real part of the casting is his grittiness.
Yes.
And it's like that kind of thing where I had that great pleasure of speaking to Nick Apostolidis as well. Like, his success has been unbelievable since I spoke to him. But like he showed, like when he speaks as well, that roughly kind of voice. You need that. Yes. And it's with that, and then it's coupled with his and that's what he basically looks like Rick from The Walking Dead. It's like, and the way that he speaks as well.
Yeah.
I think that's go on.
No, I was gonna say, like, I think you're right about that, where he could.
Yeah, I think he needs that kind of like thing with him. And I think like that. I think maybe like you just need someone a little bit older and like gravelly and kind of like almost like Hugh Jackman-esque, if anything, to like look wise. There's some interesting castings here so far.
I've been saying DeCray this whole time? I don't think that's how you pronounce his name. Dacry.
It's always something here, isn't it? It's always something.
I'm gonna say Dacry Montgomery.
Who plays Nathan?
Oh man. Summer Glau.
Because I have someone.
Okay, go for it. Because I have zero choices for
and I don't know how I feel about him. I've seen him in a lot of stuff, and I'm just like I've never been sold on him, but he pops up in a lot. I think he could pull off Nathan and the kind of like the aesthetic that Nathan brings to the story. Dylan Minetti. So he's in 13 Reasons Why.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
He's got that like almost like Nathan Prescott look, just based off the face as well.
Yeah, okay. I can see that. I can see him doing that. I
Yeah,
think
I
he's
think
a
you can
little
put that.
too old to be
Yeah,
playing Nathan. Man, that's a tough choice. I mean, Nathan. Um, you know who I would cast is he just played. I always forget his name. He just played Adam Warlock in the new Guardians movie, but he's again
oh,
a little too old to be playing Nathan Prescott, in my opinion. His name is Will Poulter.
I see him. Yeah,
Yeah. Again, I think he's a little too old to be playing Nathan Prescott, unfortunately. But I still think that's a good casting.
yeah. I feel like it could go into Time Machine, like Tom Fenton from Harry Potter.
Yes, yes,
Like he would be a great Nathan Prescott if you could like take a time machine and like pull someone from like their past. Like I think
yes.
he just screams like a Nathan Prescott kind of character for me.
Oh yeah.
Um, yeah, it's an interesting one that Nathan. Nathan would be like that kind of peculiar one. I think I was leaning to my other pick because I was like he's young a little bit. Like he's because of 13 Reasons Why he's played like a younger character. So I think
Mm-hmm.
like he could have just pulled that off.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, that's thingy. I'm trying to figure out if there's anyone else we missed off like major from the first Life is
Oh,
Strange.
I have my choice for Warren.
For Warren
It-
Graham. Now
I
this is gonna be something.
I just sent you the link for this person's IMDb.
Oh,
Thomas
here we
Brody
go.
Sangster. That's who I would cast as Warren.
Oh, I know him.
Yes,
I know him.
I would cast that guy as Warren.
He's in
For
Game
sure.
of Thrones. Yeah, he's in Game of Thrones. That guy.
I think did I pick like 3 Game of Thrones people for this list?
Yeah, you did pick a lot of Game of Thrones people.
Yeah,
You
I
did.
did. Yeah.
Yeah. So, um. Oh, do you know what? As well, I just thought about this as well. And it's rad because we're going off TV shows. Bryan Cranston as Dave Madsen. That's the one for
Okay.
me.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see that.
I
can see
love
that.
Bryan Cranston.
I can see that. Yeah, I can definitely see that.
Because have you seen he's in a new thing, isn't he? Is it Metropolis?
Bro, Aaron Paul as Frank Bowers.
That's one, yeah. That would be it,
Oh my god, why am I so stupid?
That's the one.
That's the one. Oh, okay. Case closed.
That is case closed actually. Aaron Paul is
Yeah.
like built.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, it's like easy that. Absolutely
he's
easy.
the right age for it too. Like he's Aaron Paul, Frank Powers.
Do you know what, Adam, as well? This is random as well. I just put my head as well. Principal Wells. Do we like keep the seriousness or do we bring in someone like Kevin Hart to be I don't know why I'm thinking Kevin Hart.
He's just like sits like this behind the desk, like, now what seems to be the problem here?
Yeah.
Is there a problem?
Bring a bit that Gary Coleman kind of like influence now. Kevin Hart as Principal Wells, like
Kevin Hart interpretation. Wait for it. Kevin Hart as David Madsen.
Oh my god! Yeah, that's completely. We've lost the conversation here for that. Oh my god!
Kevin Hart as Frank Bowers.
No, we can't do that, unfortunately. I'm not having that. Aaron Paul is a very good shout though for Frank Bowers. That's just like, that just screams that. So, are we missing anyone major?
I don't think anybody major. I know Joyce is in there, but I'm giving that to Ashley Birch. I think that would be a good nod to the series.
I feel like I don't like
I know, but like I just think that would be like if you give her blonde hair dye, I just think that would be just like fun nod that like the voice of Chloe is Chloe's mom. I don't know. I just think that would be just like I think Joyce as a character, I think Ashley Birch could just pull off. I just think that would be like a fun little nod. Just like how you had Charles Martinet as Jumpman in Mario. It's just like that fun little thing of just like oh yeah. Because Joyce is like important, but like, is she I think
like I would argue with your thing of saying it then. You could just give it to CC Jones, who played Joyce in the first one.
Yeah, okay, I can see that too. Yeah,
I think she could do Joyce very well. And like, I like Joyce is a weird one because even I wouldn't necessarily gravitate towards like a Hollywood actor, like a bigger, like Meryl Streep or anyone like that. I think like that character's built for like a lot of people, and especially for me, like the voiceover people who've worked in the video game industry or who've done mocap, because like I can kind of think Laura Bailey as well.
Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah. Laura Bailey, I could see as Joyce as well. Yeah.
I just think I have that kind of thing with those characters. I think they could universally quite fit. I think even if you wanted to do the Ashley Birch thing, you could probably do the Ashley Birch thing. But I think like mine would literally just gravitate towards Cece, who's the voice actor for Joyce in the first Life is Strange, and then also Laura Bailey. I think that they're two very good shouts.
Yeah. Kevin Hart as Joyce.
Kevin Hart a choice. That would be something. And do you know what? Well, I prefer that if we did all this, like, you know, the major casting with all the other people, I'd like to like fit in other people. Like, do you know, like when you look at Victoria's minions and her other characters as well, like that, I could easily see someone like Ashley Johnson being in there.
Yeah,
I feel like see that. You could easily fit her in as someone to be casted in one of like the, you know, the other characters that's like around the side of it. But yeah, I think like we'll just stick with the first Life is Strange, and I think that's probably better because I think like I'm not really very well traversed with like Hispanic actors, and for the other like Life is Strange games and like even the Asian American ones, I think like it'd be very difficult for me to even do that like representation. Oh, by the way, as well, actually, this is a really one as well. I just thought about this. Even for like Joyce Price, Jolene Anderson.
Oh, you know
like,
what?
I really like Jolene.
I like that. I like that choice, Jolene. Yeah, I like.
Yeah, that. I think Jolene's a really good shout for that. So it's like, maybe someone like that could like easily fit into
Jolene. If you don't know, and if you haven't seen Adnan's interview with her, played Karen in Life is Strange 2.
Indeed, and she's also Ada Wong in Resident Evil 2
yes,
remake.
she is Ada Wong. Yes,
and she's done like loads of different films and stuff as well. She's got like a quite glittering career as well as it is. So it's like very good choice, maybe for that. But yeah, there's quite a lot of characters there.
Oh, you know who I would cast? Okay, this is my final thing because we're running out of time. You know who'd be a good Frank Bowers?
Go on,
Luke.
I don't know if he's fit for that.
He could,
maybe.
Yeah, he's very mean to me on Twitter. So.
I think Luke plays Michelle in the game because there's that scene in the 5th episode where Max is in the gallery,
and instead of Michelle, it's Luke,
and it's Luke. How great is that for casting?
That would be fantastic.
Sign me up to this project. Make me
Michelle Coe as Principal Wells.
Now that would be an interesting choice.
That would be a very interesting choice.
And I think we end our conversation with that.
Yes.
But no, I hope you enjoyed that anyway. Thank you for this fan submitted topic as well. It's really nice. And as well, as I always said, if you have your own topic ideas, just leave them in the comments. We'll definitely pick them up. We've got so much time to talk about things. But as I said, big thank you to Showbiz Stan for the topic. Hope you enjoyed it. In the meantime, let us know in the comments what you'd pick as your casting, whether you agree with some of them, whether you think we're very outlandish on some of the takes. Let us know in the comments as well. I'd love to hear it. I can't wait for someone to write Jean-Claude Van Damme as Max Caulfield. That'll be quite the something for for a casting decision. But anyway, Adam, spread the arts.
Yes.
Do you want to go first?
Sure. Yeah, I think I owe it to this game because I gave it a shout out like a few episodes ago, and I said I didn't play it, and yet I'm still giving it my recommendation. But I'm finally playing Inscription. Like I am almost done with it, I believe. And it is a wild game, dude. Like people kept telling me that just like it's a game, but you don't know what it's like. Like go into this game completely cold, other than it's a card-based game, and that's it. Just know that it's a card-based game. And it's just more than that. It's more than just like a card playing game. It's not like your Slay the Spires. It's not like any other game like that. It is such a trip, and it's so creative in its storytelling and like how the story will play out and the mysteries you have to solve within it. But just a card game in of itself, it's so much fun. It's so much strategy involved that every time. And also, so there's 3 different maps that you have to go through, and each one has its own boss. If you don't beat the boss of like the second map, you have to start from the beginning again. You have to go through map 1, 2. If you don't beat the one on 2, go back to 1. If you don't beat the one on 3, you have to go back to 1. It's really good. It's really interesting game. So I'm giving my shout out to Inscription, my proper shout outs, since I'm playing it now, and it's really, really good, dude.
Oh, that's good shout. Good shout.
Yeah.
Um, so mine, I'm gonna kind of like change this a little bit, spread the
Oh
arts and
boy.
like from recommendation. So I
Yeah.
was gonna give you my early impressions of what I thought, and I said it before. Final Fantasy I've been playing. I've kind of it's Square Enix as well, so it seems very relatable to this
Yeah.
podcast as well. So it's Final Fantasy 16 has just recently been released. I picked up a copy of it. It feels so different. I don't know if I'm
Yeah.
enjoying it or not. And this is the like I'm at such a like an odds with myself. I'm like at a war where it's like the story is like just not got me entrenched at all. Like when I played
Mm.
Final Fantasy games of the past, I've been really gripped by the story and like got really into it. The story just feels a little bit like whatever. It's kind of like I'm not even that interested in it or like intrigued by it, or it's like it's just not really hitting the kind
Did you
of
see the
beats with it.
story that the developers were forced to watch Game of Thrones while developing this
Yeah.
game?
Well, it makes a lot of sense because like
Yeah.
it's like a medieval setting. It's got kingdoms. It's got like
Yes.
the gameplay is great. Like it's like if you're a Devil May Cry fan, because like they've got people who are involved previously with Devil May Cry. They've had people involved with like Platinum games. It's like they've kind of like changed the mechanics, but then it's like it's
Mm.
almost like if you really enjoy Devil May Cry, you will really enjoy this Final Fantasy game. But it's like they've stripped back a lot of the RPG mechanics as well, and like Final Fantasy had already been stripped back a lot of RPG mechanics anyway. Like over the years, it's been very like limited, but like it
Mm.
feels even more diluted now. And I'm like a bit like I'm like this series is famously known as a JRPG for a reason. It's like one of the crown jewels of famous for it. It's like
Yes.
how much of the identity are you stripping here? Because like Final Fantasy, I don't really know how many people really enjoyed a Final Fantasy game mainline entry since like I don't know which one would you say the last one was like 10 or something, probably
I
like
would say
12 or something.
15.
Yo,
15
that's a very
people
divisive
really
game though.
it was, but I think people were very interested in it. I would say the last one people were really invested in. I would say 11.
Yeah, I would say that because like I said to my friend, I was like the last one I bought at release was
Mhm.
Final Fantasy 13, which in itself,
Yeah.
yeah,
Mm.
people feel very differently about the trilogy of 13, and I'm like I'm kind of indifferent of it. I kind of enjoyed it a bit of it, but like since then it's been 13, 14 was an MMO big one, but it's like 15 was like kind of almost like drag through development hell, and then kind of what we got is what we got, and it feels like it's good, and I'm not hating on it, but it's like it's lacking in certain places. It's almost like
Yeah. People
the
had fun with it, but that's about
yeah,
it. They're like, I enjoy this, but they weren't like it wasn't like Pariah.
yeah,
It wasn't in like the social like you gotta play this. It wasn't like an
yeah,
Elden Ring like it should have been, you know?
yeah.
People
It was
just
basically like
yeah.
we finally got Final Fantasy 15 and we're content with what we got. And it was like because like
Yeah.
the main characters were really interesting. The brotherhood and camaraderie with 15 was really great, but it's like the story just fell off a cliff towards like the later stages of the
Yeah.
games, and it was kind of like here and there with other little mechanics. But like this one, I'm not really too sure because I'm so early into Final Fantasy 16. I've almost like got to the point yesterday where I was thinking like maybe I should just stop playing this. I just
Mm.
don't know if I'm actually that into it. It's like I obviously love Final Fantasy 7 Remake. It's like one of the best games I played in the last decade. But it's like um this one just is something that's very I just don't know how this will leave people. Like if it keeps going the way that it is, and by the time I get to the end of it and play it, I don't know whether if it's going to keep a lot of Final Fantasy fans there or if they're going to completely disappear. Very interesting nonetheless. If you like want to play it just for the pure gameplay, the aesthetically it looks beautiful. The soundtrack is phenomenal. It's Final Fantasy. It's got all those beats as well. Don't need to break into it too much, but like the story is like the one thing that's dragging on me a little bit. And I'm like,
Mm.
is this going to pick up? Is this eventually going to get to it? Because it's like Clive, not necessarily who's the main character. Clive's not necessarily like the kind of like the most endearing character at the minute. And it's like I don't really care about your little brother Joshua. It's like, and you can kind of like when you start it as well, you can basically skip an early portion of the game because if you played the demo, which is essentially the prologue for the entire game, you can
Yeah.
skip it and it'll just transport you up to the point where the demo starts, and you're like, hang on a minute. It's like maybe I should just replay this, and it might have like because the prologue is phenomenal. Play so it's on the it's in the demo. It's like download it. The spectacle it creates is fantastic, but then it kind of was when I've got to where I'm up in the story, I'm a bit like, it's a little bit dragging here. It's like, are we going to pick up steam here? Are we going to like really kind of like
Mm.
get into Final Fantasy stride? So it's a hit and miss at the minute, but I thought I'd just talk about it because it's one of the things I've recently done, and I've watched a lot of terrible films recently, and I'd rather not talk about them. I'd rather talk about this instead.
Yeah.
But anyway, I think we'll leave it here because that was
Yes.
a great episode as usual. As I said in the comments, please leave us your thoughts about which how you cast a Life is Strange TV show, movie. It would be very interesting to see your picks as well, and whether you agree with us or not, please do tell us as well. One final reminder as well, as I said at the beginning of the podcast, we have got an interview out with Alex Jones on the YouTube channel. Do check
Not
it
that
out.
Alex Jones.
Not that Alex Jones, different Alex Jones, but yeah, please do check it out. You'll learn a lot about the Quiet Things, her project that she's working on. It's on Kickstarter if you want to go and support it. If you like Life is Strange vibes, if you like Life is Strange, it's very heavily inspired by Life is Strange. And as I said before, Alex is good, loves Life is Strange. She's worked with, been mentored by people who've worked on Life is Strange. So definitely do check that out. But as I said, nonetheless, we're done here. If you did enjoy the content, please, one more thing as well, do consider dropping us a subscribe, turn on notifications, like the video, and share with your friends. Helps you support our channel, helps the channel grow as well. And it's always greatly appreciated from me and Adam just to see people support the channel. And also, StrangeCast is available on all podcast services, so you can get us access on pretty much every podcast service. We're available there for download. So do follow us on there as well, and you can subscribe. You can rate us as well. Again, it helps with this channel, with the podcast, with everything. Either way, we're done here. We will be back in 2 weeks for a new episode. In the meantime, stick around. As I said, always check out the YouTube channel. We have exclusive content that comes out that's not necessarily on podcast services, but stay tuned. We have more content to come very soon. Until then, guys, take care. See you later.